Hey guys, Nick here, and today, with the add-on of music, we will be getting in to part 5 of What If Madison's Family Joined Rick. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far, and today we will be getting to Daryl and Alicia returning to the farm, and seeing what will happen now that Randall is dead and so many changes have occurred. Daryl and Alicia make it back to the farm after the events with Randall's group. Madison checks on Alicia to make sure she's okay, and Alicia explains what happened and that they are both okay. Madison smiles a little bit, seeing kind of a romantic relationship between Alicia and Daryl, though it's faint because they haven't really... Daryl appreciates Alicia, but that's not like they're in fields of relationships yet. I say yet because who knows if it would happen. Not gonna spoil that or anything. Daryl lets Rick know about what happened, and that there was a kid who begged for his life, but because the whole group, the 5 or 6 men besides him that came after them, tried to kill them, they weren't gonna spare someone just because they were hurt and begging for their life. It just didn't seem right, and Rick agrees with this, even though he might have done differently. Shane also is glad that everything was dealt with, but he is skeptical as to whether or not there could be more men, even though it wasn't confirmed because Randall wasn't brought back that there was more than those guys. Madison agrees with Shane's skepticism, but she says that it really shouldn't be that big a deal, because there was no signs or clear-cut evidence that there was more than the men that were dealt with. So she thinks that they should be alright overall. They just have to stay here, keep doing what they've been doing, and hope it all works out. Beth is still having her little crisis, thinking about killing herself and everything, except with the change being much sooner. I think it would happen around the same time, maybe a bit sooner, because, you know, the barn scene did still happen, except a few episodes earlier. Andrea would still argue with Lori, except I feel it wouldn't be as deep an argument, because, for one thing, the barn scene happened sooner. For number 2, Sophia was never brought to the barn or anything. It was Chris, even though that still would bring kind of a toll. And Ophelia, for the first time, would side against Andrea. So that would be a little bit of a twist of the knife there for betrayal in Andrea's eyes. Someone who she looked to as a sorta kinda sister. But, you know, Andrea's still broken after Dale stopped her from killing herself after Amy died. So I feel that she would ultimately be pushed out and Beth would not even be able to cut a wrist, except Andrea wouldn't be as snotty about it, I feel, and she would be much more okay, because I feel that the main reason for everyone's moods was Sophia. That was the whole thing, because everyone was so brought to it and finding her. Dale would think about going to comfort her, even though it seems like it wasn't too big a deal, but he just cares about her and wants to make sure she's okay, and says this to Daniel. He's gonna go and talk to her. But Daniel stops him and says he knows more than anybody, he feels, about keeping stuff from someone and caring about someone that he loves. And he says that there's a lot of things he's neglected to tell Ophelia about his life, but he still does the best to try and protect her and know when to leave her alone, and just tells Dale that, from what he's heard, he needs to learn to let go a little bit too. If he can do that, then I feel that, well, he feels that the relationship between them would be a lot more better. And it works out. Or at least it starts to, because Dale has to get used to the fact of what Daniel said. But he is being very truthful and nice, so Dale accepts this. Meanwhile, Carl's being an idiot out in the woods, trying to, you know, shoot the walker, even though he doesn't really, and, you know, that whole stupid thing in the woods that he did with the walker that got Dale killed. But because of so many different circumstances, and so many messes of when everything would happen, and who's with the group now, Carl has a companion in the form of Nick. Because remember, second episode, Nick and Alicia grew to view Carl and Sophia as a younger version of themselves, like siblings, to a degree, if you will. So Nick stops Carl from doing anything reckless and kills the walker, just to make sure that it doesn't become a problem later on. So because of everything, Randall, the barn, and everything that's happened, and everyone's character development, no Horde coming to the farm, no Rick versus Shane, and that means also that they would not leave the farm, because the Horde would never go there. Does that mean we're never going to see the Horde ever again? No, we are. It will just be later down the line. But the Horde is going to make an entrance, but it just won't be for another episode or two. So we will definitely be getting back to the Horde, because even though it's not at the farm now, it will make an appearance. I'm just not going to spoil when. So, because of everything that's happened, this means that Rick and Madison's groups together combined, which is what they will be called now officially, they do not leave the farm, because they have what they need, they've fortified, they've done a very good job making the place like somewhat of a base or home, if you will, and there's no reason to really leave because nothing dangerous has occurred. So we get into season 3, and everything about the characters would go the same way, except because of Madison's group being there, it'd obviously be different. And the prisoners would just be staying at the prison longer. There's not too much else to talk about the governor at the moment, and Rick's group would just be chilling at that farmhouse. But there is someone we have to cut to, who will have a different story than what I usually give her. A sordid lady in a hood, and 2 walkers in chains by her side, drifts through the woods aimlessly, wondering what she should do, what her next move will be, where she should progress from where she is. Now, in many stories, this certain female, without Andrea to be with her and guide her, has left aimlessly to be saved by the savior leader Negan. But this time, her adventure differs, because it lands her at a farm. Now, this woman wasn't expecting this, because certainly after all this time, she thought that it was just all endless woods from what she has experienced through this whole ordeal. But now finding this, it gives her a semblance of hope. Aimlessly searching for food and such, this is just could be another dry well. But if anything, it could be populated, because it seems like this place has been very touched upon since the beginning of the apocalypse, or that it hasn't even been touched at all. Now, on one hand, going in there aimlessly could get her killed, but if it's empty, she should just go scoop in there and take whatever she needs. But on another, it could just be a dry well like she presumes. But she has to come to a realization that it's definitely not a dry well. But she also has to think that if there is people there, she can't go rushing in. From how she's gone out through the apocalypse so far, she must put those skills to use. And even if it involves killing people, her mind is clouded, her judgment low. So whatever she does, she won't feel sorry for, because that's how people are now. She knows from her experiences that this is what she has to do. It's what she will do, and she progresses towards the farm with 2 walkers by her side. This lady is Michonne, who is introduced in a much different way than I've ever introduced her, and will make her way towards the farm, coming up here next episode. How will this encounter go with Rick and Madison's family? And how will the governor and prisoners go with Rick and their people not progressing to that area yet? And that's where we leave things for the moment. Bit of a different feel now for the music that I've put in, but many people have said that adding music would add mood to the videos. And for the longest time I had put it off, because I didn't want to get copyright claimed or anything like that. But luckily, with the thanks of internet and search, I figured out that Power Director music can't be something that will be copyrighted. So from now on, music will be featured in the vids. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.